What's up, world? Back again with another video. Got another reaction video coming to you, man. This is from a YouTuber that's been doing it for, man, over 10 years now, man. He's been talking about entrepreneurship. He's been talking about trucking and how to better yourself for a decade now. So this is someone that is very knowledgeable about the trucking industry and how to succeed in this industry and things that you can do that you won't be successful if you do those things. So man, big shout out to him. I've been subscribed to his channel for a while now, and we're gonna react to this video because I feel like from the title, this is a lot of information that's gonna take you from here to here. So let's get into it, man. First and foremost, man, subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel by now, man, I don't know what you're doing, honestly. Like, you slipping on your pimping. Subscribe to the channel, like my videos. Do me a favor, go back and watch some of my previous videos. Tell me how you feel about them. Comment below those videos and let me know what's good. So let's jump into it. Let's get it.
Is it still worth it to be an owner-operator in 2024 going into 2025? That's what I'm going to briefly discuss in this video. So a lot of the videos that I'm seeing now on YouTube from owner-operators, I'm hearing a lot of guys say it's not worth it to be an owner-operator.
Ooh, this is a good one. This is definitely a good topic. I have experience on the working side, working for a company, which what I'm doing now, and I have experience as an owner operator. So I can definitely tell you there's pros and cons on both sides. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this. But as far as people saying that there's no money in trucking, being an owner operator, those are just people that I don't know what they did wrong, man. You know, they made a few mistakes. Not saying that I didn't, because I definitely made a few mistakes. That's what kind of got me working with a company now. But at the same time, I've had my months where things were very sweet. So it all depends on how you doing it out here. So man, I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this.
I'm hearing a lot of people say there's no money in being an owner-operator. And the first thing I want to deal with in this video is kind of basically dispelling that myth. I'm calling that a myth. When I'm hearing guys on different videos say that there's no money in trucking or say something like that, the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, it's all in how an individual is set up, how they're doing things. I know one of the main reasons people are saying right now that it's not worth it to be an owner-operator is because there's no money in it. And most of the time when I'm hearing those guys, I'm thinking that I'm hearing from somebody that's like working on the spot market. So I'm thinking that I'm dealing with somebody that is dealing with rates, basically. And I'm hearing right now that, you know, it's hard to get anything over $2 a mile on the average. You're probably averaging $1.75 a mile. And at that rate, they're right. There's no money in doing trucking that way. But like,
see, I knew he was gonna hit it right on the head. I knew it, because he's been in the game for so long. He knows this industry like the back of his hand. You know, he may say I'm giving him too much credit. If he watched this video, he's probably gonna be like, nah, man, I don't know everything. But at the same time, with someone that's been in the game for several years, he definitely knows the ins and outs of this industry. And the key point in what he said was, there's no money doing it that specific way. And it's all about what you know and who you know. A lot of people say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. No, it's about what you know and who you know. Both of those things are important. And if you don't know what you're doing out here and you just winging it, of course you're not going to be making no money. Like, you listening to these YouTubers, or you listening to these so-called gurus on Instagram, and a lot of times they just know how to promote, they know how to advertise. With that, you can basically say you're a guru at anything, honestly, if you know what you're doing and you got the right marketing schemes, things like that. You can say you know anything, you know what I mean? Like, so a lot of these guys, they really not knowledgeable about the trucking industry. You know, you gotta check people credentials. Like, ask them, how long you been doing this? Okay, so how did you start off? Things like that. Get down to the nitty gritty and figure out if that knowledge that you're getting from this person is actually gonna lead you to success, or is it just gonna have you on that wheel, baby? Have you on that wheel? Because I'm telling you, from experience, I was on that wheel. I'm staying out on the road 3 months at a time in order for me to make some type of profit and pay all the overhead for renting the truck or leasing the truck. You got to pay your fuel, so it's a lot of overhead when it comes to being an owner operator. So you have to take all that into consideration before you just jump in there and think, oh, I'm gonna just get my insurance, I'm gonna get my authority, and then I'm gonna get a couple of load boards, and then I'm gonna hit the ground running, and I'm about to make $1 million gazillion dollars. It's just not gonna work out the way you think it's gonna work. If you think it's that simple, it's not that simple. So definitely gotta do your due diligence and researching and figuring it out and seeing if that way that you got that knowledge on is the actual right way to be successful in this industry.
Everybody is not set up to do business that way, and there are other ways that you can be doing your trucking career. So I don't want to get too much into specifically how I'm doing my trucking career. That's for another video. The point that I want to make with this first point is that when you hear somebody say that there's no money in trucking, you shouldn't assume that there's no money in trucking in general. You should assume that there's no money in the way that they are doing trucking. And I would think that an individual that's saying that there's no money in trucking, they would have to agree that they don't necessarily know how everybody is set up in trucking. In other words, for you to be able to say as an owner operator that there's no money in trucking, you would have to know how everyone is set up, and you would also have to know that everyone, no matter how they're set up, is not really making profit. They're not really making money. So like the way that I'm set up in trucking, generally speaking, again, I don't want to get into too many specifics, but the way that I'm set up in trucking, I am still able to bring home, after fuel, about $600, about $3,000 in a week, about $600 in a day, after I take out for my fuel, right? Now, part of how you're going to be set up in trucking has to do with whether you're going to have a truck payment or not. That is definitely an expense that, it makes a difference if you have $1,500 a month truck payment, $2,500 a month truck payment. That definitely makes a difference. Whether you're going to have a lot of money that you're putting towards maintenance is going to make a difference. And whether you know how much overhead you have to pay that's associated with how you're set up. So I'm an intrastate owner operator, and while I will admit I don't know all the expenses that go into being an interstate owner operator, my assumption is that it's a lot cheaper to run as an intrastate owner operator. In addition, the truck that I drive is paid for. I'm not dealing with a truck payment. In addition to that, because I want to talk about something else briefly here, there's a lot of people that believe that if you have an older truck, which is typically what you're going to be dealing with a person that doesn't have a truck payment. I mean, you either got somebody that's got a newer truck that they managed to get paid off, or they paid for in cash, or you're going to have somebody that's dealing with an older truck. But the myth is, the belief is that if you're dealing with an older truck, you're going to have a really high maintenance bill. That also is not always the case. I've got a pretty, my maintenance bill is my truck doesn't really give me any problems, other than having to replace tires every now and then, or replace brakes every now and then, or replace a light or work on some electrical or something like that. But I'm not really having to deal with a whole bunch of extensive maintenance, big maintenance jobs.
See, and that's key. So the first part that stuck out to me is, I know he didn't say it like this, but let me break it down for y'all. He basically saying, motherfuckers be capping. Motherfuckers be capping, bro. Like I just said, a lot of these so-called gurus, they really not getting it the way that they claim that they getting it. They not. They just not. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's not me hating or me being jealous or anything like that. I pray that they are getting it the way that they are. But in reality, they're not. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But, starting off, they going to tell you, man, you should lease a truck or rent a truck, man, and the rates are going to be this and that. And that's just not the case. You know what I mean? I'm speaking from experience. Like I say, you can go back and watch some of my videos. I was in a box truck for over 3 years, owner operator, booking my own loads, things like that. I had a contract with a company. I ran that for a few months. That contract was expired. I jumped right back on the load board, and I ran it for, like I said, over 3 years. So, I have somewhat of experience when it comes to being an owner operator, and I can tell you, it's not as easy as some of these people may put it. It's just not. And it's a lot of work into it, man. You're gonna have a lot of long nights, man. A lot of time away from your friends, your family. You're gonna miss a lot of those moments, you know what I mean, with your family. Like, one year I spent Christmas in San Francisco. Like, I was so far away from my family, and I tried to make the best of it. I went to the Warriors game on Christmas Day, things like that. But, in reality, I wish I was at home, you know what I mean? And that's just the truth. So, a lot of this stuff, man, that people are telling you, man, just do your research, like I said before, and make sure, you jumping in here with a plan. Don't just jump in here thinking DAT load board and things like that. Try to grab some contracts. Try to grab something that is going to have some consistency in your life. Because waking up every day not knowing if you're going to go to North Dakota or New Jersey is just not the way you should be doing this trucking. And that's just my opinion.
I'm around every so often, obviously, but I mean, you factor that into the overall cost of things. So if you got a truck that's not costing you a whole lot of money in maintenance, and your truck is paid for, and a lot of your overhead is fairly low, in my case, because I'm an intrastate owner operator. In addition to that, if you're able to get hold of decent paying freight, I don't run like on the spot market, and I'm not dealing with a whole bunch of different brokers where my rates are fluctuating. I'm running the same kind of freight every day. I'm basically locked into a company. I'm not leasing to a company, but I'm basically locked in with the company. They got the work. All I do.
Another thing that he said was he actually owns his equipment, and that's very key as well. Starting off, I was renting a truck, and that's just even more overhead, so yeah, I don't have to worry about the maintenance. And if I have a breakdown, they're just gonna put you in a new truck. But even with that, I thought, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's perfect, man. I won't have to come out of thousands of dollars because of breakdown, things like that. With the breakdowns, I didn't have them often. I had on account of my hand the amount of breakdowns I had. Like, it didn't happen often. And when those breakdowns did happen, it actually cost me more because of the amount of time that I spent not moving as an owner operator. Every day that you don't drive or you don't have a load on the back of your truck is money. You know what I mean? So money that you're missing out on, and money because you're on a leasing program, and that's just it don't add up. And you still have to pay that insurance every month. So let's just say you're leasing a truck and you broke down. You break down on Monday. You know what I mean? They try to fix the truck, or they try to put you in another truck. They don't have any available for you. So they try to fix the truck. That may take 2 days. You get a hotel. Even though they say, you know, they're going to reimburse you for the hotel, it doesn't happen right away. So you got to come out of pocket that money for the hotel. And you're going to be missing out on money that you could be potentially making because you broke down. So all that is really not worth it, man. If you're going to jump into this, try to lease or rent for as minimum as possible. 4 months, 5 months, 6 months tops. If you have to rent for longer than that, you know, it's going to be a bit difficult. I'm not going to say it won't work out, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So you have to take in a lot of things into consideration when you becoming an owner operator. A lot of people say that it's not worth it because of those things. They didn't take all those things in consideration, and they ran themselves into the dirt, you know, and that's just the reality of it. So make sure you take all those things in consideration and, you know, get out here and do it the right way.
Was go and pick up the loads that they have for me every day. If somewhere that they offer me that I don't want to go, I just let them know that I don't want to go. And I'm working 5 days a week. I normally don't go. Like right now, I'm at my first drop for the day, October 30th. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm about 40 miles away from the location that I pull out of. When I get done here, I'll have to go back there and grab up my second load. And then for my second load, I'll have to run out another 40 miles to go to that spot. So, you know, up and back on both runs, 160 miles for the day. And then that's pretty much going to be my day. Some days I have 3 runs, some days I have 4 runs. And some days I'm going a little bit shorter than 40 miles. Some days my runs are only 5 or 10 miles, 15, 20 miles up the road. So on those days I'll have less mileage. So I'm able to bring home about $3,000 a week after fuel. But out of that $3,000 a week, obviously, I got to factor in overhead of my business, my truck insurance, my tags, stuff like that. And then I've got to factor in my maintenance bill with that as well. But in my opinion, to be able to bring home after fuel $2,500, $2,800, $3,000, $3,500 a week after fuel, to me, if the average person in trucking was doing that, you wouldn't hear so many people saying there's no money in trucking. So, like, if you're hearing people say that, I would just take it as, you know, they're saying that there's not much money in trucking the way that they do trucking, even though they may not necessarily specify that. You want to keep in mind that there's a bunch of ways to be set up in trucking. You don't have to be out here on the spot market taking $1.50, $1.75 a load. Fuel prices right now, I believe fuel is somewhere around $3.25 in my market. And at $3.25 a gallon for fuel, and my truck is getting about 5 miles per gallon, $1.75, $1.50, $2 a mile, yeah, you are cutting it thin. You are cutting it really, really thin. If you're in that situation.
See, my boy got that contract. See, that should be the goal. If you're going to be an owner-operator, being on that load board is is not the way. You know, you want to get those contracts. You want to have something consistent, like I said before. If I was making 28, 3,000, 3,500 a week in a box truck, I don't even know if I don't even know if I would have my CDL at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I was making more, but at the same time, he's doing that by running 40-mile loads. I'm making more, but I'm driving 600 miles a day. I'm going from here to there. Yeah, I'm cross country with it. So, you know, it's a lot of difference when it comes to that, because another thing about leasing and renting, you know, you got to pay that per mile. You know, you may get it as low as 30 cents per mile. You know, some people were getting like 18 cents a mile, but you know, that per mile, that adds up. You know what I mean? So you looking at paying anywhere from $1,200 to $1,400 a week, and then you have to pay the $1,500 to $1,600 a month. Like, that overhead on top of the fuel, that overhead is crazy. You know what I mean, when it comes to renting and leasing these trucks. So, you know, yeah, that's pretty tough. But for him to be making that type of money and only running about 120 to 160 miles a day, that's sweet. You know what I mean? Like, you can even do that while leasing. So, because the amount that you're going to be paying per week is going to be extremely low, because you're not running that many miles. You know what I mean? So that's pretty sweet, because a lot of these companies, they do you a deal like the first 500 miles are free. Well, shoot, that's damn near half the week. And then Thursday and Friday you do 120 miles, 160 miles both those days. You know, you're looking at 320 miles times 20 cents, like, on top of the weekly rate, bro. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty sweet. So, like, that's the type of work that you would want to do. That's the type of contracts that you would want to do in order to be successful in this industry. But getting on the load board and just winging it and going from Cali to New Mexico, may not get a load out of, well, you're not gonna get a load out of New Mexico for sure. And you know, getting that cheap load, and it may be $1.20 per mile coming out of New Mexico, that's gonna take you to Illinois, and then out of Illinois you might get a good paying load, but that may take you to New Jersey. And then when you get in New Jersey, like, that lifestyle, it'll definitely run you over. You get gray hairs quick, for sure. You'll definitely get gray hairs quick. So that's some good knowledge from him, for sure. He knows what he's talking about.
Gonna feel that that there's no money in what you're doing, but keep in mind there are other ways to have things to be set up and to be doing business while you're out here on the road. So in my opinion, it's just as worth it, as I've always shared it here on my channel, in 2024 going into 2025, to be an owner operator. Again, I'm bringing about $3,000 a week. I won't say home, because again, I got to factor in overhead, but I'm able to make about $3,000 a week after fuel. Today, I'll probably be done at around 1 o'clock. I got started this morning at about 6. So that's what, a 7-hour day. And I'm home for the rest of the day after that. Most days, 8 days out of 10, I'm able to get home before my 2 school-aged children get off the bus. They get off the bus at around 3 o'clock. Normally, I'm home by that time to get them off the bus. I can't get them on the bus, but most days I am home to get them off the bus. Me and my wife want to go walking in the evening. I got time for that. I got time to wash cars in the evening. I got time to cut grass in the evening. I got time to... I got a life outside of doing trucking. In other words, in addition to being able to make a decent amount of money doing what I'm doing, and also not having to drive all over creation to make the money that I want to make. I'm also able to get home at a decent time on a regular basis and basically have a life. A lot of people think that.
See, for all my owner operators, this should be motivation. This should be motivation right here. Like, he's giving you the game right now. He's giving you the game. Get in those contracts, man, and get on those contracts where you're doing trucking the right way and you're making decent money and you can have a life outside of trucking. Did y'all just hear my schedule, bro? Like, bro, I was on the road 3 months straight in order to make somewhat of a profit. You know what I mean? This man is able to go home every day, spend time with his wife and his kids, and do normal day life stuff. This man can go to the gym. He can, he can eat a home cooked meal. It's not just truck stop food. Man, like, that's the way you should be doing it. That's the way you should be doing it as an owner operator. He's just telling you that when you hear these people, and a lot of times, another thing I want to speak on, a lot of people will speak negativity on your life, and they don't even know you. But it's up to you to accept it or to rebuke that negativity and block that negativity. If someone says there's no money in trucking, you tell them, for you, not for me, I'm gonna get money out here. And you speak that into existence. You don't listen to people because their situation is different than yours. They may not be getting no money in this trucking, but it's up to you to work hard, work smart, invest your money, don't spend your money wisely, and make money in this industry. So it's totally up to you. But don't listen to people when they say negative stuff, because they speaking that on their own life. Don't allow them to speak that on your life.
If you're in trucking, if you're making money, then that's at the expense of not having a life. Again, that's all in how a person is set up. That's all in how a person is doing their trucking career. But the purpose of this video was to basically let you guys know that for me, trucking is just as profitable as it always has been, 2024 going into 2025. So when you hear people saying on these different videos, there's no money in trucking, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to deter you guys from getting into trucking. Because a lot of people feel right now that there's too many truckers on the road, and that's what's causing spot rates to be as low as they are. So maybe they're trying to deter people from getting into trucking. But I'm just making the point that when you hear somebody say that, even though they may specify there's no money in trucking, what I would say that would be more accurate is there may be no money in the way that they are doing trucking, but there's plenty of truck drivers out here, owner operators, that are still doing just fine as far as profitability in 2024 and 2025.
I'm gonna end it right here, man. Y'all subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all watching this video all the way through. As always, y'all stay safe out there, keep trucking, and always utilize your gifts.